Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can keep this or any other conversation I ignite going over on my Twitter at MoviesTVMad. And the extension to this channel is my brand new Instagram that I just started today. It's Big Mouth 987. Got to get used to that one. I basically uninstalled my old one, installed it, forgot the password, and I had to create a new account. I know, I'm dumb. So today we're talking about Torchwood. Welcome to today's Doctor Who video, by the way. And a few weeks ago, after he appeared on Doctor Who, John Barrowman said that any decision to be made about Torchwood coming back was down to Chris Chibnal. It's always down to the Doctor Who showrunner. Of course, this is not true. It used to be, it used to be in the remit of Russell T Davies when he was the showrunner, because basically Russell T Davies owns the card and the keys on Torchwood. We all know this. But John Barrowman speaks too much. He did it when he was negotiating to be on the Day of the Doctor and the 50th anniversary. It cost him his appearance. Barrowman can't help it. We still love him. We think he's great and adorable, but he talks too much. So Chris Chibnall basically said what I just said. He said it's not up to him if Torchwood comes back. That show's owned by Russell T Davies. He's very busy, and it's up to him if it happens. And Chris said he will be the first in the queue to watch a brand new Torchwood. So interesting stuff. For me, it might be new to you, but it's not new to me. I pretty much knew without Russell T Davies, this couldn't happen. But why don't we get Torchwood anymore? It's on Big Finish, which is great. It's great, but we want to see Torchwood. Why aren't we seeing Torchwood anymore? Well, we are not seeing Torchwood anymore because Russell T Davies, as much as I love him and he's one of my creative heroes, was sulking because of the way we responded to Torchwood Miracle Day. Torchwood Miracle Day was an interesting concept, but Russell T Davies and the BBC went to bed with the Stars American network and Americanized Torchwood, and it didn't work. Now, I like the concept that Russell came up with. Basically, every day, nobody dies. Another day, nobody dies. So, nobody dies. And you talk about, it's kind of a thematic. The themes are really of overpopulation. What would happen if nobody died, obviously. Nobody can die, apart from Captain Jack. Now, of course, Captain Jack's always been immortal since Rose became Bad Wolf and kind of brought him back to life. So, that was an interesting thread for Captain Jack. My issue with Torchwood Miracle Day was the fact that they spent half the series kind of fleshing out and focusing on these new characters that we just didn't care about. And they kind of ignored Captain Jack and Gwen, and they only realised this to the second half of the series when they focused on Captain Jack again. It was really good, and we were interested. But the ratings weren't good. Stars cancelled it. And, of course, Russell T Davies came out and said, I don't think there's going to be a Torchwood for a very, very long time. I think Russell T Davies wanted to punish us for rejecting what he was attempting to do. This was a big problem. We also heard from John Barrowman that he talked to the BBC. Could Torchwood become a CW show? Imagine that. CW, a network aimed towards young teenage girls. No, John, that's not possible. And Russell T Davies, hopefully, would never allow that to happen. And that's why we don't have any Torchwood anymore. Do I see a Torchwood TV series coming back anytime soon? Well, Russell T Davies actually wouldn't have to run the show. He wouldn't have to write all the episodes or plot out a season. He could bring a producer in that he trusted to run this. In fact, Stephen Moffat doesn't really do much. I know he did Dracula. Stephen Moffat could actually run Torchwood. So I think that could work because Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies are as thick as figs. They're both on Instagram, by the way, as Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat on Instagram. So give them an ad. They're really funny and they're as thick as thieves. So I think Torchwood run by Stephen Moffat would be very interesting. Even if he ran it like Sherlock and had each episode was 90 minutes long and we only have 3 episodes a series, that would still be cool. So I think that could be a way in. So do I think this is possible? Well, actually, I've just plucked it out of the air. I've never really thought that Torchwood was coming back anytime soon. as much as I want it to and desperate for it to come back. Either Russell T Davies has to take back the keys of Doctor Who, which he seems resilient to do. He doesn't seem to want to do it. But that takes me to my next subject. I hope that Stephen Moffat could take over Torchwood. I think that will be an amazing idea. There's no one that Russell T Davies trusts more. So it is an option. We'll see what happens. Since Russell T Davies has left Doctor Who, there's been a change. We've lost viewers. We've lost that feel-good factor. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think Stephen Moffat's era is pretty good. But even that had issues, and it didn't cater for the whole of the mainstream audience. And those accusations have been made, and Stephen's denied that. Deny it or not, what Russell T Davies did with Doctor Who was phenomenal. It was great for families, single people, men, women, all demographics loved Doctor Who. They did. What Russell T Davies did and set up, and everyone he put in place to work on this show, was amazing. And when you look at it, I mean, look at what Chris Chibnal did. Russell T Davies had mostly Doctor Who fans working on Doctor Who, and Chris Chibnal fired most of them and kind of did diversity rehires. You can tell the difference, that the people working on Who now are probably not Doctor Who fans. Does that have to be the case? Do you have to have Doctor Who fans working on the show? No. But you can see the difference. Julie Gardner, a Doctor Who fan. Phil Collinson, a Doctor Who fan. People working in the backgrounds in the CGI department, in the creative departments, and the runners. Everyone loved Doctor Who. And it was a thing of love and passion and warmth under Russell T Davies. And that changed. We lost Doctor Who Confidential very quickly after RTD left. But the thing is, we have to put the responsibility to what happened with Doctor Who after Russell T Davies left on Russell T Davies. Nobody's saying that Russell T Davies shouldn't have left as showrunner. He gave what he could give. He thought he couldn't give any more, and that's fine. But no, he set up this remit of how good a Doctor Who series, right, in the 21st century can be. He understood it. He got it. He brought in Murray Gold, right? Chris Chibnall got rid of Murray Gold. Murray Gold's music. I mean, we've lost that. And all we got now is McDonald's mood music. It's another diversity hire, whether we want to say it or not. Are diversity hires wrong? No, of course they're not. You just got to make sure that you've got the right capable people in those diversity hires. But there seems to be this attitude, no, as long as we can tick a box, it doesn't matter who we employ. And that's where there's problems. Anyway, right, so going back to Russell T Davies, this is what I believe. He should have stayed, and I've said this many, many times on this channel, and previous Instagram videos, right, and on Twitter, that Russell T Davies should have remained in a Godfather role. He should have remained executive producer. So Stephen Moffat comes in, he does his thing, but if he's going to do something stupid, Russell goes, no, sorry, Stephen, I can't let you do that, right? You want to kill off Clara and bring her back to life? No. People are going to go nuts. You can't do that. You either kill her or you're done. He puts a stop to it, right? The thing with Chris Chibnall, he brings Chris Chibnall in, and then he can say, right, Chris, this is what we want. This is not what we want. Right, this still has to be Doctor Who, whatever you want to do with it. You want to bring in a woman, fair enough, but bring in someone with some aura, personality, and screen presence. There was no one there to tell Moffat or Chibnall, no. And if Russell T Davies remained as executive producer, he could have wrote a 2-part episode a year if you wanted, or he still could have guided the good ship, TARDIS, the good ship Doctor Who. But when he left, it just lost something. And when I think of the Russell T Davies era, it was so beautiful. As I say, he totally got what Doctor Who should be. And yesterday I was watching Doctor Who at the Proms 2008. And that was near the end of the David Tennant era. And the music. Imagine, right? Imagine the composer they've got now, right? Akinola, right? Doing a Proms or doing a Doctor Who concert. He would bore everyone to tears. No disrespect. This is where we are now. this is where we are now with Doctor Who. It's there. People are kind of watching it. Season 12's kind of improved. But at the end of the day, that excitement, that passion, that romantic adventure, as I keep on saying, is gone. That's what Russell T Davies took away from him. But if he played this Godfather role as an executive producer while having a showrunner underneath him, none of that had to happen. Empires are destroyed from within because Russell T Davies created the Doctor Who franchise. If he remains as an executive producer while having another showrunner underneath him, that franchise continues, right? But instead, it's all gone. What Russell built was amazing, and now it's all gone. I find that very sad because it was so special, even under Moffat. And what we've got now is a lifeless, bad impression of what Russell and Stephen gave us. And that's very sad. That makes me want to cry because it was so special. And we were proud of it. And we were showing off about it. And now we're just kind of watching it out of loyalty. And that's sad. Please let me know what you think. Comment down below. Please like, share and subscribe. Share the video, share the channel. And I'll be back tomorrow with even more Doctor Who content. See you then.